Russia has long been gaining economic benefits by exporting natural gas to Europe. But in recent years, in order to find new markets, they have reached a preliminary agreement with China on a natural gas project in 2021. This large-scale project is expected to invest more than $13 billion and plans to build a 2,600-kilometer natural gas pipeline to directly deliver energy to China. According to the original plan, the project was supposed to start construction this year and is expected to be completed within 4 years. However, recent discussions on the project have become somewhat complicated. Some Western media reported that China seems reluctant to let the pipeline pass through Mongolia, but prefers to choose to bypass Kazakhstan. Obviously, this choice will make the negotiations on the project more tortuous, and it may be difficult to reach an agreement within this year. So the question is, why is China unwilling to let the pipeline pass through Mongolia? In addition, how is the progress of this project now? If you like our video content, please click to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can receive all our latest video content. Now, let's get into today's topic. As we all know, natural resources are a major advantage of Russia, especially the natural gas fields on the Siberian plain, which have abundant reserves. In 2011, natural gas production in Siberia accounted for 40% of Russia's total domestic production. However, since the natural gas from Siberia needs to go through a long transportation process before it can be exported, this has brought considerable transportation cost pressure to Russia. Therefore, Russia's attention naturally turned to China, which borders Siberia but has relatively scarce natural gas resources. In order to meet China's growing demand for natural gas, as early as 2015, China and Russia signed a memorandum on the Far East Route natural gas project, planning to build the Siberia 1 natural gas pipeline. This pipeline has begun to transport natural gas to China since 2019, with an annual gas transmission volume of 15 billion cubic meters, and plans to increase this gas transmission volume to 38 billion cubic meters by 2027. Since then, Russia has become one of China's most important natural gas suppliers. However, with the rapid development of China's economy, the demand for natural gas has also increased rapidly. Since 2021, China's natural gas consumption has reached a staggering 390 billion cubic meters, a year-on-year increase of 7.6%. Among them, imports from Russia accounted for about 100 billion cubic meters, equivalent to 33% of total consumption. According to the forecast of the National Energy Administration of China, by 2024, the national natural gas consumption will climb to 420 billion to 425 billion cubic meters, a figure that indicates that the demand in China's natural gas market will continue to grow. But problems also arise. Even if the Siberia No. 1 natural gas pipeline is fully operational, it is still difficult to fully meet China's huge energy needs. Therefore, China and Russia realized that relying on one pipeline alone is far from enough. So Russia began to plan a more ambitious plan, the Siberia No. 2 natural gas pipeline. So what is so special about this Siberia No. 2? As early as 2021, Russia and Mongolia joined hands to invite China to participate in a strategically significant trilateral cooperation project, the Siberia No. 2 pipeline. The core goal of this project is very clear. That is, to further promote regional cooperation by strengthening the mutually beneficial relationship between the three countries. After receiving the invitation from Russia, China showed great interest and believed that this was an excellent opportunity to promote the common development of the three countries. Immediately afterwards, the Russian Ministry of Energy announced that it would invest up to $13 billion in the Power of Siberia No. 2 project. According to the planned route of the Power of Siberia No. 2 pipeline starts from Tyumen, Russia, crosses Mongolia, and finally arrives in the eastern part of China. The entire pipeline is about 2,600 kilometers long, of which the Mongolian section is about 900 kilometers. The Russian section is about 100 kilometers, and the Chinese section is 1,600 kilometers. According to the original plan, the Power of Siberia 2 natural gas pipeline was originally scheduled to be officially started in 2024 and is expected to be completed in 2028. According to this schedule, the pipeline should be put into use around 2030. Once put into operation, Power of Siberia 2 can deliver up to 50 billion cubic meters of natural gas to China every year. When we look at it in the long run, we can find that the Power of Siberia 2 project is a typical win-win situation. For China, the completion of Power of Siberia 2 will greatly enhance the stability of natural gas supply. For Russia, this pipeline means a new export market that can help it respond more flexibly to changes in the global energy market. But it is worth noting that according to the original plan, the construction of the Power of Siberia 2 natural gas pipeline should be officially launched this year. But as of now, there seems to be no definite news about the start of the project. This makes people wonder, what exactly happened in this? Did the project encounter any obstacles? As early as June this year, British media reported that China and Russia were deadlocked in negotiations on the Power of Siberia 2 pipeline. The core of the problem lies in the disagreement over price and gas volume. Russia believes that the natural gas price and gas volume proposed by China are not very reasonable. On the other hand, the natural gas price required by China is close to the level in Russia after government subsidies, and the amount China has promised to purchase is relatively small. It is precisely because of these reasons that the negotiations between the two sides were once deadlocked. But it is worth noting that the Western media chose to publish this report on the deadlock less than a month after China and Russia issued a joint statement. Obviously, this is not a coincidence. They tried to create an atmosphere of public opinion of tense Sino-Russian relations through such reports, implying that there are cracks in the strategic cooperation between the two countries. However, is the fact really as they say? According to the information I have collected so far, the failure of the Power of Siberia 2 pipeline project to start smoothly as planned is indeed closely related to some controversial factors. Among them, the core issue is that China has clearly stated that it does not want this natural gas pipeline to pass through Mongolia and then enter China. Why does this problem arise? In the past year, Mongolia's relations with Western countries such as the United States and the United Kingdom have become increasingly close, and it is even exploring the possibility of bypassing China and Russia and opening flights directly with the United States. In addition, Mongolia is also actively exploring the export of its rich, rare mineral resources to other countries, which naturally has aroused China's high attention and vigilance. In this context, China needs to re-examine the direction of the Power of Siberia 2 pipeline and incorporate these emerging factors into the overall consideration. Of course, Mongolia has always pursued the so-called third neighbor policy, the core goal of which is to balance relations with its two major neighbors, China and Russia, while expanding cooperation with other countries. Because of this, Mongolia's role in Sino-Russian relations has become increasingly complicated. But now, the Power of Siberia 2 pipeline is planned to be laid over 900 kilometers in Mongolia, which is a big concern for China. China is obviously worried that this vital energy channel may face the risk of being cut off in the future. Imagine that once Mongolia undergoes major political or diplomatic changes, this pipeline may become a tool for other countries to exert influence, or even directly threaten China's energy security. At this point, you may not be clear about a key issue. That is, the Power of Siberia 2 pipeline may also face high tolls proposed by Mongolia. According to international trade practices, once an energy pipeline passes through the territory of a country, the country usually charges a certain toll. Economic experts analyze that if the Power of Siberia 2 pipeline is put into use as planned in 2030, Mongolia may earn up to $30 million in foreign exchange income through this pipeline each year. For China, the cost of purchasing natural gas each year will also increase costs. What is more noteworthy is that once political friction breaks out between China and Mongolia, Mongolia may take the opportunity to increase tolls, further increasing China's economic burden. In this context, if China relies solely on this natural gas transportation pipeline, it may not only fail to achieve the expected economic benefits, but may even make the huge investment go to waste. I think it is precisely because of such considerations that the negotiations between China and Russia on the Power of Siberia 2 pipeline have temporarily come to a standstill. In fact, it is not just in the Power of Siberia 2 project. When reporting on the strategic cooperation between China and Russia, Western media always try their best to sow discord and try to create conflicts between the two countries. However, history has proved time and again that such attempts are ultimately futile, and the current situation is no exception. As early as May this year, China proposed a new proposal to Russia, hoping to allow the natural gas pipeline to bypass Mongolia and divert to enter China through Kazakhstan. After several months of consultations, this alternative gradually surfaced. According to the Kazakhstan ambassador to Russia, Russia is planning to build a new natural gas pipeline in the near future. This pipeline will pass through Kazakhstan and eventually transport natural gas to China. Although the specific construction time and natural gas price of this pipeline have not yet been finalized, it is worth noting that the route map of this pipeline has been officially signed. From a geographical point of view, if the pipeline passes through Kazakhstan, its route will be relatively short, which not only greatly reduces the construction cost, but also reduces the difficulty of maintenance. It is worth noting that the Power of Siberia 2 pipeline project of China-Russia cooperation is not only an economic cooperation, but also has important strategic significance. As we all know, oil and natural gas as a strategic resource are vital to every country. Since ancient times, China's oil and natural gas imports have mainly relied on the Middle East and Africa, which almost all need to pass through the Malacca Strait, a major transportation route. However, this channel has huge risks. Imagine that India and the United States have stated many times that once China takes action to unify Taiwan, they will quickly block the routes in the Indian Ocean and the Strait of Malacca, thereby cutting off China's energy supply chain. In addition, the U.S. Navy often holds joint military exercises with India and other so-called allies on a regular basis, which is actually practicing the ability to block the Indian Ocean route. Faced with such threats, China must find a safer channel for energy imports. In this case, if Russia can increase the supply of oil and natural gas, it can greatly reduce China's dependence on the Strait of Malacca and greatly improve the security of China's energy imports. Therefore, the Power of Siberia 2 pipeline is not just an energy transmission pipeline for China, but also a key step to enhance national energy security. So, do you think the Power of Siberia 2 pipeline between China and Russia can be successfully built? To not miss out on our future projects and news updates, please make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. We will continue to provide you with more exciting and interesting content.